So we know how to calculate the portfolio's return, and we've also discussed the portfolio's risk. Now you can form so many unlimited portfolios by using different combination of stocks each time. The question is that which combination of stocks is the best option. So for that we have the efficient portfolios, which are defined as those portfolios that provide the highest expected return for any degree of risk or the lowest degree of risk for any expected return. Remember that investors like return and they dislike risk. So for the most efficient portfolio will be the one that offers the highest expected return or the lowest degree of risk for any expected return. So that is your efficient portfolio. This will become more clear when we later on look at its graph as well. Now this is the two asset case. So over here we are going to assume that there are only two assets, stock A and stock B. Now if you want to calculate the return of portfolio, you already know how to do that. It is the weight of stock A multiplied by the return of stock A, 1 minus WA. So this means WB because there are only two stocks in the two asset case, and multiplied by the return of B. Now we also have the portfolio standard deviation formula. So if you want to calculate the standard deviation of the portfolio, this is the formula for that. We have already discussed in this what is correlation. Remember, because of correlation you can actually form riskless portfolios as well if the correlation is perfectly negative. But we discussed that usually the correlation tends to be close to 0.3. So you can reduce risk but you cannot eliminate it. So this is the formula where again WA is the weight of stock A, the standard deviation of stock A. So basically this is a variance because you can see there is a square over here. So the variance of stock A, then you have WB, then you have the variance of stock B, then 2 WA, WB, and the correlation between stock A and B, and then the standard deviation of A and the standard deviation of B. So let's look at an example of how can we use this formula. So expected return of A is 5%. So you have RA, that it is 5%, and a standard deviation of return for A is 4%. So let me just write this down over here, that the expected return for A is 5% and the standard deviation of A is 4%, while expected return of B is, so the expected return of B is 8% and the standard deviation of B is 10%. Assume WA is 0.75. So the weight of stock A is 0.75 and this is the weight of A, then the weight of B will automatically be 0.25 because this should add up to 1. And the correlation between A and B is 0. So so the correlation between A and B is 0. What is the return and risk of the portfolio? So if you want to calculate the return, the formula for that is WA multiplied by RA plus, so I'm just going to write WB and RB. So this is 0.75, this is 5% plus 0.25 and this was 8%. So if you solve this, your answer will come 5.75%. So this is the return of the portfolio. Now we will also calculate the standard deviation of the portfolio. I'm going to erase this. Okay, so the standard deviation of the portfolio formula is, okay, this is too thick now. Okay, so we have a square, then the variance of a, then 1 minus WA square, then variance of B, then we have plus 2 WA, and I'm just going to write WB. Then correlation between A and B, standard deviation of A and standard deviation of B. So this is the whole formula. So over here, the square of your WA, so WA was 0.75. So if you take the square of 0.75, it will be 0.5625. And then the variance of A, so the standard deviation of A was 4%. So if you take the variance, it will be 0.0016, plus we have, so this is 0.25 square, so 0.25 square will be 0.0625,